Hi, everybody, and I believe we are live. Welcome to Chaos of the Feywild, which is our interactive Dungeons and Dragons experience. We're super excited to start playing this game and share this with everybody. This has been a big passion project that we've been working on for a long time. A lot of man hours, hundreds of hours have gone into preparing this, and we just hope it's a fun experience for everybody. Just kind of a couple pieces of business to start off. First things first, the way that this game works is that we're playing D&D 5th edition. I'm going to be the dungeon master, which means it's my job to tell the players what's going on in the world around them and act as any person or creature that they encounter, and also to use the rules of D&D to help them play out an epic fantasy adventure. The player's job is to join that imaginary world and pretend to be a character living in that world, and then to act and speak as what they think that character would do in those different situations. Based on the decisions that these characters make, we'll sometimes roll these dice, which help us to determine the outcome of different things that they're trying to do. So that's D&D basics. But what's unique about what we're doing here at Chaos of the Feywild is that we're including all of the live viewers, you at home, um, inside our game as well. So throughout each session, you should see various different polls and questions that pop up in the Twitch chat section. One should be popping up right about now. So we'll do a quick see what that looks like. Conversation says, "What should the king's name be?" So our story is going to start in the capital city of a um, human majority kingdom, and the king is important in this first session. So, but he doesn't have a name yet. So you guys get to pick his name. You should see that option popping up. You may need to click on it to expand it and see the four different options, and then you get to vote. It looks like votes are coming in right now. That's great. Um, so go ahead and vote on that. As a few quick notes while that voting is coming in, first of all, um, our players aren't allowed to watch the stream. So they don't know when you're voting on stuff. They don't know what you're voting on. As far as they know, we're just in a video call here playing Dungeons and Dragons. And you guys make those decisions, and that information gets relayed back to me. And then I do my best as the dungeon master to try and weave it into the story seamlessly, and they just have to deal with it. Looks like that first answer is back in here now, and you guys have chosen the king's name should be King Jimmy the Stout. Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and send up a second warm up question as well. And as that second question is going out, I believe that second question is ready. We're going to have our three role players introduce themselves. First will be James, and then we'll finish up with Jen. So Jake, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name's Jake. I've been playing D&D for a while now. I love it. I got into it by way of, well, by way of a thing called tabletop wargaming. I play Warhammer 40K, and in playing that, I met a lot of people who play D&D, and they were like, "Hey, you like this tabletop game? Why not play this tabletop game?" So I got into it, and I fell in love, and it was super super awesome. But yeah, I paint miniatures and play D&D, and that's pretty much my life because I'm a nerd.
Awesome. Thanks, Jake. James?
All right. Well, first off, nerds unite, Jake. Let's get this. My name is James. Most people just call me Ginger, though. I do esports casting here at the league. I like Rocket League, Valorant. I'm a total sushi addict, but probably don't have the money for it. I play basketball, ultimate frisbee, and I actually do not have a lot of experience in D&D, but I love the whole idea, the whole aspect of it. I did drama back in high school. I love acting, and I'm just here to have a good time with everyone in chat and hopefully to put on a show for you guys.
Thank you. And Jen?
Hi, I'm Jen. I I'm a teacher, so I run the D&D club at my school. I got into D&D about 7 years ago, because my LARP friends were looking for something fun to do over the winter. So I love to LARP, I love to role play, and I'm looking forward to having a good time and, not dying. Please, no TPKs. Thanks.
No promises. Awesome. Those of you keen-eyed observers may also recognize Jen from last November when we did the charity one-shot for the 24-hour Feywild tournament. That was really amazing. It was my first time on team. I don't know if anybody actually watching. Um, and sorry, crazy things happening. Okay, so that was my first time doing that, and Jen was one of the 3 players, and we were able to raise about $1,000 during a 2-hour game, and all that money went towards local children's hospitals, which was awesome. And so she has returned to be one of the main cast members here on Chaos of the Feywild. So we really appreciate you coming back and playing with us, Jen. Okay, um, we have a few sponsors to thank before we get going. So first of all, our first sponsor tonight, we have 4 people to thank. First of all is Wadobo. Wadobo offers training courses and teaches people how to build gorgeous modern websites without needing to know how to custom code. So whether you're looking to launch a career in web design, start a side hustle, building your own websites, or maybe you're an entrepreneur looking to build a website for your new business, head over to wadobo.com/Feywild to sign up for 50% off their new online course. This is a limited time exclusive offer made specifically for fans and friends of the show. So that's Wadobo, WODOBO.com/Feywild. Thank you, Wadobo. Second group to thank, number 2, is TLE. So season 1 of Chaos of the Feywild, which we're doing right here, is streaming exclusively on Twitch from our friends over at the League Esports, or TLE for short. They host competitive rec leagues and tournaments for amateur gamers across the globe. They play games like Smash Brothers Ultimate, Rocket League, Valorant, and League of Legends. They focus on giving amateur esports competitors a professional experience with commentary, interviews, play-by-play, tournaments, and more. To learn more about them, check them out here on Twitch at twitch.tv/the League Esports, or head over to theleagueesports.com. Thank you, TLE. We love you, and we're excited to be playing this game with you. Okay, number 3. There's a lot tonight. Number 3 is Phoenix Dice. I have to give a huge thanks over to our friends at Phoenix Dice. They make killer dice, dice trays, and tabletop accessories. They've been big supporters of Chaos of the Feywild for a long time, and they actually sent over dice trays and dice for myself and for all the players. If you could show those now. Let me see if I can see if you can see this. Oh, cool. I'm losing stuff. So these awesome dice trays that kind of snap apart here. And let's see if I can see my camera. You can kind of tell it's kind of hard to see with the color, but there's an imprint of a phoenix right inside there. And anyways, these are my favorite dice from them. They had a crazy name because they're all named after like legendary beasts. These were called Ica Roa, and it's tough to see in this lighting here, but this is actually a frosted, so you can't see all the way through it. Kind of opaque. Anyways, I love these. Head on over to phoenixdice.com, pick up a few sets for yourself. Thank you to Phoenix Dice. We love you. Okay, and then fourth and final sponsor for tonight is Dungeon Journals. Dungeon Journals, they make gorgeous role-playing character journals. Let's see. They're bound with buffalo leather. Here's one right here. See if you can see that. And they have handmade cotton cloth pages. So you got this cool metal clasp here. It pops open. And then inside the journal, so it starts off with kind of basically a character sheet area. So you can put down all your characters' information and their spells and all of their abilities and equipment. And then, let's see, here's a spell slot section here. The nice thing about this is the buffalo leather is 3 times thicker than regular leather, and the cotton pages are meant to hold up against a lot of writing and erasing over time. So these will last you guys a long time. You have a note section back here that's just notes either for your character, or you can kind of keep it as a journal or a diary for your character in the game. And then the very back section here is a bunch of basically graph paper. So if you want to build maps or keep track of where you are in a dungeon, you've got all that right here. We are actually teaming up with Dungeon Journals. One of these will be given away today for free during the break. So we're going to play the first half of the game. We'll take a break, and somebody's going to win one of these to get to take home for yourself for free. Um, Everybody else should head on over to dungeonjournalgoods.com. That's dungeonjournalgoods.com to learn more and pick one up for yourself as well. Thank you, Dungeon Journals. We love you. Okay, that being said, that is all of the announcements to start off. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's play. So our story begins in the city of Ankeford. Ankeford, by the way, that's the name chosen by some of our Patreons. Thank you. Ankeford is the capital city in the human kingdom. There are several different kingdoms in the land. The human kingdom is kind of in the northeast section, and the capital city, Ankeford, is a large city. It's the biggest city around. It houses the king and a lot of other important businesses and homes. There are high stone walls that surround the outside of the city. You can smell the sea and kind of mist coming off the sea as it is right on the edge of the water there. The high walled cities protect them from invaders and other intruders. And the king happens to rule the entire land here, this human kingdom. To the north, a ways off, there's a dwarven kingdom and dwarven clans in the mountains. And far to the southwest in the plains and the prairies, there are also halflings. This city is comprised mostly of humans, although a few of the other races and species do show up occasionally, as it is kind of a trading port as well. So our story begins on the road to the palace. Our three main characters all have played a prologue session before this to get their character story going, and all three of them are now currently on the road up to the palace to go and try and speak with the king. So the three of you all are on the road there. There's a probably 5-minute walk ahead of you. The first to arrive on the road would be Jen. Why don't you go ahead and describe your character as the three of you kind of all arrive together? Jen, why don't you tell us who we're looking at, what's going on there?
Sure. I'm playing Aenwyn. She's a half elf fighter. She's half wood elf. She has long brown hair like me. I think hazel eyes, athletic build. Yep.
Okay. And James, why don't you describe your character for us?
All right, my character is Sir Dyfrey Penier. I am a human paladin. I'm a knight of the king, that is King Jimmy the Stout. And I have red hair, blue eyes, and I'm dressed in knight's armor.
And Jake, why don't you round us off?
And I am Ponto Puddlefoot. I'm a halfling bard. I like to get into trouble. I have a very conspicuous red hat with a feather in the back. It looks all oily, and I am currently wearing handcuffs.
Mm-hmm. That's right. In fact, Ponto, you're not only in handcuffs, you're being escorted by one of the city guards up to the palace. So while the other two are walking there of their own free will, you are not. You're being escorted. Um, so the three of you all see each other, and there are people coming and going. This is kind of one of the main thoroughfares that comes from the palace area and the upper city down into kind of the main town square area and the commerce area. And then there's the lower part of the city is where all of the most of the residents live, kind of the middle and lower class. But so you're heading uphill and up through the classes up towards the palace. So you are on the way there, and let's see what's going on there. So, okay. So you each see ahead of you the sorry, I'm just trying to pull this up here. So, as a bit of background, while I'm waiting for something here to show up, um, one of the strange things that's been going on in the city lately is that there's been some unexpected events that have popped up kind of out of nowhere. Um, People have gone missing. Things have showed up that shouldn't be there. Things have rearranged themselves. Wild animals have showed up, um, and that's causing a lot of confusion and issues around the town. There's a lot of suspicion among the humans in town that this is actually being caused by the elves specifically. That this is some sort of um, uh, method of aggression, or that they're trying to cause issues there. Let's see. Okay. As the three of you are walking up towards the palace, you all see a flash of kind of aqua blue light that passes through you and over you like a wave, almost like there was a ripple in a pond that is spreading out. You feel that wave kind of splash over you, and as it happens, you all feel a bit of like almost static electricity. Um, you all recognize that this typically happens just before something chaotic occurs. So as you're on the way up to the palace, um, suddenly out of the sky, as soon as this blue flash happens, out of the sky starts pouring huge splashes. I don't know, huge amounts of chocolate pudding begin raining from the sky on the way up towards the palace. For 30 seconds or so, giant globs, almost buckets of pudding, are falling and splashing all over the road and spilling down into this section of town. Over the 30 seconds, about 1 metric ton of chocolate pudding falls on the road in front of you. What are you all doing?
That better
Looking
not
for a
be what I
spoon.
think it is. Guard, bring this man over there. Is that a halfling with you?
Yes, the halfling, criminal.
Is he in league with the elves that have been causing this trickery of late?
I don't know. Escorting him to the castle.
All right, well, bring him over here. As a knight of a king, I would like to speak to him. See if he has anything to do with this brown ooze of late, let's call it, to be frank.
Yeah. The town guard, recognizing that you're a knight and are in the hierarchy above him, he does kind of shuffle the halfling over towards you.
What is your name, halfling?
Oh, my name is Ponto. Ponto Puddlefoot.
Looks like you've gotten a little bit into a bind, Ponto Puddlefoot. What are you in handcuffs for?
Well, I was just going along, singing my songs and doing my own duty as a bard.
Guard, why is he in handcuffs?
He's on the way to plead with the king to avoid execution.
For what? What crime has he committed?
He said it sounded like public defecation.
Public defecation?
He
And
said
who are you?
doing his duty.
I did not take it like that. And who might you be?
My name's Aowen. Aonwyn.
Aenwyn? You look to be an elf. Are you
Oh, no, just a half elf.
just a half elf?
Yep.
So, do you know this man? Do you know this Ponto Puddlefoot?
No?
No,
What?
I'm,
Well,
I'm simply just half a person.
could be a quarter person if you ask me. Guard, continue on your way. That's all I would like to know. But Eowyn, was it? What is your story? What brings you to the town of Onkeford?
I need to talk to the king. Why are you here? Why are you asking so many questions?
Well, as a knight of the king, and as we are in the capital, I like to keep an eye on everything that happens around the city, especially with all the trickery and magic that has been happening as of late. I'm just, trying to keep an eye on things, so to speak.
Actually, that sounds useful. I don't actually know where the king is. If you could take him to me, I would be very grateful. I need to talk to him about some foresting issues near my home.
Well, my dear miss, I cannot bring the king to you, but I, of course, will
Bring me to the king.
direct you to where the king lives. If we
Perfect.
basically continue on this road where this guard was taking this, as you so eloquently put it, defecating halfling, you just follow this road. Basically, the higher the elevation, you get towards the castle and the palace, and then when you get to the top, well, you should actually just follow me because the guards, well, frankly, will probably not let you in with events that have been happening of late. But I am actually also on my way to talk to the king, so if you would care to join me, we could go up there together.
While they're doing that, can I take my in cups? Can I kind of scoop up some of the pudding and lick it to see what it is?
Yeah, I mean your hands are behind your back.
Ah.
You can dip them in the pudding.
I will pretend to slip and fall, and my face will jump into the pudding.
Okay. You're now covered in pudding.
Okay.
But it does taste like chocolate pudding. It's pretty nice. Okay.
I can assure you, this right here is chocolate pudding. It's not defecation as you guys seem to think.
It's like a metric ton of pudding. Guard, can you pick him up so he doesn't drown?
I think he might prefer to drown there.
He
well,
does. He does actually pick up Ponto and hold him like this, like he's just holding a toddler.
That's one messy toddler. Guard, do your best to control this man. If he is in handcuffs, if he is to see the king about his execution, make sure he arrives with, well, not that all over his face. The king does not take well to, how do I put this, dirty visitors.
Yep, of course, sir. Yep, of course.
Oh,
He
well,
starts wiping off Ponto, just kind of smearing it.
you know, I'm very clumsy, and so you'll probably need to carry me the rest of the way just to make sure that I don't fall again.
Yep, of course. So you all kind of slog through. There's probably 4 or 5 inches of chocolate pudding that's now coated the road up to the palace. And it takes a lot longer, and it's kind of slippery, and people are like, some people at the top of the hill have like slipped and fallen. There's a couple kids who do it on purpose and are like wee down through the chocolate pudding. As you arrive at the palace, the grand doors open up to an antechamber, and then you are able to proceed into the throne room. Sir Dyfree, you are very familiar with the interior of this palace, as is the guard who is still holding the pudding-covered Ponto Puddingfoot. There we go. You continue heading towards what is the throne room. So you go through a couple corridors. The throne room opens. The large wooden doors that are very tall and exquisite are already opened, and you can see into the throne room. As you're approaching, the three of you all see that to the left and to the right are large stone pillars, 2 sets of 3 that are kind of almost lining the outer walls. There's about 15 feet past each pillar, and each pillar is about 10 feet wide. From the door that you've entered, there's about 150 feet at the other end of the room. There are levels of platforms that are going up by 2 feet, 4 feet, 6, 8, and then 10. And at the 10-foot platform at the far end sits the king on his opulent throne, King Jimmy the Stout, as was chosen by chat. But you don't know that. King Jimmy the Stout is there. And then also up on the left, there are very large, ornate, stained glass windows. And as it is about 1:30 in the afternoon, the sun is beating pretty hard on those, and they do cast kind of these really pretty rainbow shadows that fall onto 3 specific spots on the floor of the chamber. and that is the main source of light. There are sconces along the wall for when it is nighttime, but right now it's just being lit by the outer light. As the three of you enter into the chamber, you see that the king on his throne is talking to three individuals. Dyfree, could you roll for me a perception check?
Yes, I can. All right, I got a 18.
18. Okay. You recognize that the king is there and that one of the three people he's talking to is another one of the knights. So the inner circle of knights that you're a member of, there are. Let's find out how many knights there are. Okay, there are 10 knights. And of those 10, you are rank number 10. You are the lowest ranked knight. This is the highest ranked knight, and his name is Sir Fetrand. You see, because of the armor he's wearing, you recognize that it's him, and then two other individuals. As you all enter the room, you overhear the king saying, "Okay, well, I trust you, Sir Fetrand. As my most trusted and brave knight, only you would be trusted with such an important quest, one which may save the kingdom and all of our lives. Now go on with you, and haste and be quick. I am King Jimmy the Stout, and I have spoken." And at that point, you see Sir Fetrand and the two other individuals exit to the back right corner of the room, to go and make preparations for whatever it is that they are doing. The three of you are able to get up to the center of the throne room, which is about 60, 70 feet in, along with the middle set of pillars. That is as far as people are allowed to go to speak with the king. So you arrive there. The guard says, "Hup, hup, yep, King, yep, here we have him, the criminal, and two other people who want to speak to you. You." And he walks back towards kind of the door where you came in. And the three of you are now there, standing before the king.
All right, remember, guys, only speak when spoken to. King Jimmy the Stout, and please refer to him his full name, does not take kindly to those that give him disrespect. King Jimmy the Stout, I am Sir Dyfree Penier of your knights, and I have
Oh,
returned
yes.
to seek your counsel about something important.
Yes, my time is quite important, but I will give you 15 seconds.
Thank you, Jimmy. But King Jimmy, I'm sorry, sir. But first, I would like
Well,
to bring this halfling that has been ordered for execution that would like to plead his case.
Well, I turn to Dyfrey. I haven't been ordered for execution. They just gave me a choice to be executed or come talk to the king. Which is you, correct, Jimmy?
yes, quickly, out with it. What do you need?
I was simply doing my duty, as a loyal citizen of the kingdom. I was simply bringing joy and peace and wonderful song to the county.
Sir, he has been charged with defecating in public.
That is absolutely wrong. I was
Defecation happens all the time, of course, but performing music without a written permit from the king is, of course, a crime. So, what do you have to say for yourself?
It wasn't music, it was simply poetry.
Hmm. I will consider sparing your life, but you're probably going to be dead in a few moments. And you, the elf woman, what have you come to bring your dark magic and nastiness to us here in this kingdom?
Not at all, Your Majesty. I'm here to ask you to cut down trees somewhere else. It seems you've sent men to take the lumber from the forest where I live. My family's lived there for generations. I would really hate to see the forest deforested. I'm sure there's woods somewhere else where I don't live that would be great for you to chop down, Your Majesty.
Oh, what an interesting request. Yes, let me think about it. No, no, we will not stop. That land is mine, of course, as the king, and we will continue to. And as he's speaking, suddenly, and going on and talking about how he has the right to this land and blah 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 blah, another wave of blue energy flashes through the throne room. And as your vision clears, the three of you see that something has happened. There are creatures now inside the throne room moving about. At first glance, they look like something small, maybe the size of a large turkey. All of you go ahead and roll perception for me really quickly.
I got a 4.
8.
10.
Great. Yeah, they look like aggressive small turkey lizards. So the three of you are in the center of the room. One has appeared straight ahead of you, at the base of the steps that go up to the king's throne. One has appeared off to the right between the second and third pillar, and the third one you hear it screeching behind you back near the door. At this point, we're all going to go ahead and roll for initiative because they are all aggressive and they are trying to destroy you. So we are entering combat now, and initiative, for those of us who don't know, initiative lets us know who acts in what order during a combat situation. So, Aenwyn, what is your initiative?
14.
Okay. Sir Dyfrey Penier.
It is 20.
Wow. And Ponto Puddlefoot?
5.
5. Okay. That's not as much.
No. No, it isn't.
All right. Well, as these three creatures appear out of the blue wave of energy, they, with their talons, start moving towards whatever happens to be closest to them aggressively, and they let out little, almost cute little screeches, and that's what they sound like. So we are now in combat, and Sir Dyfrey Penier, you are the first to act, and Aenwyn, you're on deck. So you're all in the center of the room. There's one straight ahead near the king's throne. There's one in the back that was screeching, and that cute little screechy screech by the guard who brought in Ponto. And there's one on the far right in between the two pillars. What would you like to do, Dyfrey?
All right, I'm going to charge forward with my longsword drawn, yelling to get between myself and the king and these monsters, going for the one directly in front of me, yelling, "Sir, I'll protect you, King Jimmy."
Okay.
As I go to just basically cleave this monster straight into with one big swing of my longsword.
Okay. Let's see. What is your movement speed, Dyfrey? I believe it's 30, but it's loading pretty slow here. Yes, okay. So you're about 45 feet away from the base of the steps of the throne, which is right where it appeared. And as it appeared, it turned around and started heading up. So you aren't able to get close enough to hit it with your sword in one turn. You can spend your turn to basically sprint all the way up to it and even get past it, or you could try and throw something at it or do something else, but you're not fast enough in one turn of combat to actually get up there and slash it.
All right, then I'm going to run as close as I can to do it and attempt to throw my dagger at it.
Okay, you can definitely do that. Go ahead and roll to hit with your dagger.
All
So
right.
you get 30 feet up, which means you're about 15 feet away.
Got it. I rolled a 19.
Okay, 19 plus 5 is a 24 to hit.
Sorry, I actually already did the +5.
Oh, 19? Yes. 19 definitely hits. So this little feathered lizard dinosaur creature that's starting to run its way up the steps, you throw your dagger and boom, flies through the air and slashes right alongside of it. Go ahead and roll for damage.
All right. It looks like I got a 4.
Okay. So that the one that's running up is brown in color. It's got kind of scaly reptilian skin with some feathers off of the back of its neck and like on its different joints. It's mostly brown. The one that was over on the right side is mostly green, and the one that appeared back at the door is mostly blue. So you hit the brown one for 4. For these little guys, that's actually quite a bit of damage. So it slashes across it. You hear it yell in pain. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Just call for the king to stay behind his throne. Sir,
Okay.
get behind your throne.
Okay. You do see him like, oh, I am the king, and like starting to get himself off the throne. But because he's Jimmy the Stout, he's got these little legs and he's having a hard time like hopping off. So it's going to take him a little bit of time to get behind the throne and duck down there. Okay. Anwin, you're in the center of the room. You see Dyfree run forward and throw a dagger at one of the velociraptors. What are you doing?
Velociraptors. Okay,
Yes, sorry, they are velociraptors.
Turkey lizards. Okay, I'm gonna take a step to the right and unsling my bow from over my shoulder and draw an arrow. Will that count as my action, or can I attempt to shoot the one that Sir Dyfree is attacking?
You can definitely still attack on your turn. It's quick enough to grab your arrow and just pew.
I rolled a natural 20.
To hit the one
goes
that he's
well.
already hit.
Yes,
Okay.
because I need to protect the king so he can change his mind about my forest.
Interesting motivation. Okay. So, Dyfree, you throw the dagger, and then immediately an arrow flies right next to your ear and sticks right into the velociraptor. Go ahead and roll for damage, Anwin. Because that is a critical hit with a 20, you're going to go ahead and roll double dice. And the way that we
14.
do critical hits here is for the extra dice that you're adding, you just automatically maximize those. So let's see. So normally for your arrow, you would roll 1d8 plus 3. So you're going to do 1d8 plus 3 and then an extra 8. We'll just max that out so that the critical hits have a little bit more punchiness for you. So you don't roll a
18.
1. 18. Okay. Well, it basically like it flies straight through and sticks into the throne, and where the velociraptor was, it just kind of like explodes into feathers, as it is entirely decimated by this arrow flying through it and blowing it up. Incredible amount of damage to a very small and weak creature. Excellent work. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I will turn around and look for the next one.
Okay. As you turn around, you do see the one back at the door, and that's the end of your turn. There's basically now there's one directly to your right, about 15 feet to your right, in between those pillars, and there's the one back at the door. The one that was heading up the throne got turned inside out. So bad day for a little brown guy. Green is to your right, and blue's back at the door. Okay. It is now the velociraptor's turn. That one's dead. Okay. Okay. Anwin. The little green velociraptor runs its way right up to you and is going to make a few attacks. First of all, it is going to, as it gets up to you, it's going to try and bite you with its cute little dinosaur head. And then after the bite, it's going to do a claw attack against you as well. So the bite attack is an 8 to hit, which is not going to be good enough. So it just kind of like gnaws on the leather on your boot and doesn't really hurt at all. But with the claws, that is a 13 to hit.
AC 14.
Okay. It tries to swipe at you, and you kind of just like step aside just a second. Yeah. it's really aggressive. It's kind of like a chihuahua, like that thinks it's a bigger deal than it is.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, you don't take any damage at all. Ponto, however, the blue one from the door, first of all, you hear a screaming behind you. And the guard who brought you has just ran straight back out, like just left. So it's just the three of you and the king and the velociraptors in the throne room. The one from behind runs its way up to you and is going to try the same thing, a bite attack and then a claw attack against you, Ponto. So the bite attack is a 14 plus 4, 18 to hit.
Yeah, it's
Okay. So it is able to bite you on the back of your leg. And that is going to do 7 piercing damage. It gets you right in your Achilles tendon. It hurts super duper bad. As a second level character, that's quite a bit of damage you just took there from the cute little guy. It also is going to go ahead and make a claw attack.
Okay.
With a 7 plus 4, 11 to hit.
No.
Okay, so you kind of instinctively pull your leg up as it goes for the claw attack, and it does not hit with that. But the bite on your Achilles tendon definitely hurts. You can feel blood starting to come out as it ends its turn, and is now your turn. Ponto, what are you doing?
I kind of reeling from the pain. I get a little bit angry, and I with my hands still behind my back, there's not a lot that I can do. So I am going to attempt to kind of suplex it, like jump onto it sideways.
Okay. Go ahead and we'll call that an unarmed strike. So you just roll to hit with a +2.
13.
13. Just barely, you are able to just kind of land on it. It was more of like you kind of just like stumbled backward and fell on it, but you did smush it. Go ahead and roll for smush damage.
Would that be a D6, a D4?
Just roll a D4 for me, yeah.
3.
3. Okay, so 3 damage to the little blue guy. And anything else you'd like to do on your turn? You still have your movement.
Yeah.
Although you are prone, so it'll take half your movement to stand back up.
Yeah, I'm gonna lie there and use my weight to kind of pin it down.
Okay. Great. All right. At the end of your turn, that's the end of round 1 of combat. Top of the round, we're going to go back to Dyfree. It's your turn, and Aenwyn, you're on deck. So,
All right.
Dyfree, you saw the arrow fly over. You see all this commotion around you. That one that was in front of you has now been exploded. You do see the king has now gotten around behind his chair and is kind of like, I'm the king. And what would you like to do?
All right, so I'm going to first glance back at Eowyn and kind of like stare her down, like look mad because that arrow just like went straight by my head as she gives me apparently thumbs up and like a smiley face. But then I'm going to actually rush up towards the king, farther up towards onto where his throne is, and position myself with my shield out, kind of just on one knee, kind of like just ready if any of them come up to the throne trying to attack the king, ready to protect it. And then, can I still do one more cast a spell or anything?
Yeah, if all you did is just move up there, then you can still take your action, which would be an attack or a spell or whatever.
All right, and then I just want to make sure I can do this. Let me see. Is anyone within 30 feet of me? Any Ponto or Eowyn?
Nope, you rushed up. The only person within that range would be the king himself.
All right, how about 60 feet?
Yes, Anwin is within 60 feet of you.
All right, then I am going to cast Shield of Faith upon Eowyn, which gives her a shimmering field that surrounds her and gives her a +2 bonus AC for the duration of this spell.
Okay. Anwin, you feel divine energy flowing around you and protecting you from a little bit of extra harm.
Thank you.
Okay. Die free. Great turn. Aenwin, it is now your turn. So you feel this. The little green one that tried to bite you and claw you is still just right in front of you, kind of just like looking up at you. What would you like to do?
I would like to kick it.
Okay.
Will that count as an unarmed strike?
A yes.
I
Or we could count it as we could do an unarmed strike, or you could count it as a shove if you're trying to specifically push it back, or are you trying to damage it?
I'm trying to get it off my boot. These are my
Okay.
good boots.
Okay. So we'll call that a shove.
Okay.
So you make an athletics check, and it's going to try and resist with an acrobatics check. It's going to try and bob and weave out of the way as you're pushing it.
Okay. 13.
It rolled a natural one, so it tries to think like, okay, how do I stop this? And it just sits down and like looks up at you, and you just kick it like you're kicking a field goal, and it just flies off and hits against the side of the wall, and then like kind of comic book slides down the wall, and it is over there, and it's let's see, yeah, it does take 2 damage from hitting the wall and sliding down.
Perfect.
You could have done a lot more damage to it. You exploded one recently, so that was actually pretty nice of you. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn, Aenwin?
Nope. I just needed it to get in bow range and out of melee.
Okay, perfect. It is now Velociraptor's turn. So the green one stands up and kind of shakes itself off, and being afraid of you, it starts running down along the wall and making its way towards where Ponto is with the blue Velociraptor. It can't get all the way there in its turn, but it'll start its next turn basically near you. So it's going to spend its entire turn running to get basically right next to you, Ponto. So there's the 2 of you on there. Feels like they're probably used to hunting as a pack, and they usually attack in numbers. So that'll be fun to deal with on your turn. It's not quite in range though. The blue one, after biting and successfully biting but not clawing you, is going to attempt to make another claw attack with an 11 to hit. Does that hit your AC?
No.
Okay. And does it do a second attack? No, it does not. So it just tries to scratch at you and doesn't, but it sees the other one running up. And that is its turn. And that's Velociraptors. So Ponto, your turn. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna look at both of them. Go, whoa, whoa. I'm gonna slowly back away, and then attempt to run towards the guard, who has the key to my shackles.
So that guard already left. When the Velociraptors showed up, he just ran out the front door that you guys had come in. So you
Yeah.
can try and run towards the front door and try and chase him down.
Yeah, that's what I'm attempting today.
Okay. You can get all the way back to the door with your movement.
Yeah.
And when you do, you see the guard outside, like talking to some other people. He's probably another 10 feet away from you at this point, and there's a key ring on his belt, just kind of jangle.
Well, leaning outside the door, or like outside like the door frame, I kind of yell to him, "Oi! Unshackle me!" And that'll be my turn.
Okay. At the end of your turn, actually, roll a persuasion check since that was your action, or intimidation if you'd like to try and intimidate him.
15 with intimidation.
15 intimidate. Yeah. Because he's so scared of the blue waves of chaos magic and the Velociraptors and everything, he just kind of in a stupor runs over and unshackles you. So you now have your hands free, and you'll start the next round in that doorway for use of your hands. All right, top of the round, Sir Diefrey Penier.
Well, thank you. So, Diefrey Penier, I am going to look for my dagger that I had thrown earlier to find out how far away it is from me. Could you let me know how far it is?
The dagger, let's see. So you threw it at the one as it was coming upstairs. So it's on the way up to the stairs. It's on one of the steps that you've basically already passed on your way up to the throne area there. So if you
Alright.
want to say that you had picked it up on the way, I'll give that to you.
Nope, I need to play this fair. I'm a knight of the king, and I shall do so as I see fit. I am going to, as I slowly see that there is no velociraptors immediately charging up at the king, I'm going to start heading down the stairs, still with my shield and sword drawn, and try to get to that dagger.
Okay. Yeah, you can
And-
easily get down a couple steps and pick the dagger up. It'll take only about 10 feet of movement. You still got 20 more feet of movement and then your actions and stuff.
All right, is there any velociraptors within that range, 20 feet?
Yeah, the green one? No, sorry. It got kicked against the wall. So no. 20 feet will get you right next to Aonwyn if you want. And it would have been next to the Velociraptor, but she punted it.
All right. I am going to use that 20 feet to get next to Aowen and kind of get back to back so that way we can hurry and just defeat these last two.
Okay. Excellent. Aonwyn, your turn. What would you like to do?
I would like to shoot the boot fighter.
Okay, with an arrow?
Yes.
Okay, roll the hit.
17 to hit.
Definitely hits. Yep. These guys are short and wily, but they're kind of soft and squishy on the outside. So if you can aim correctly enough, you hit. They don't have a lot of natural armor on their flesh.
6 damage.
6 more damage. Okay, well, that one, the arrow slices across it, and a bunch of kind of dark brownish blood starts to kind of ooze out. It spins around, like you know how a dog will spin around before it goes to sleep? It does that, and then it lies down, and then just bleeds out. So, yeah. Aonwyn, destroyer of velociraptors. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
I would like to mutter under my breath, "That'll teach you to bite my boot, dumb turkey."
Excellent.
And as she does so, I'm just going to glance over my shoulder, see her just absolutely like destroy this thing, kind of chuckle, then kind of as I'm back to her, kind of take a step away from her, so that way I'm not as close to her, and then focus my eyes back on the last velociraptor.
Okay. Excellent. The Velociraptor's turn now. The blue one is the only one that's left. As the green one that you just shot had come around and was making its way towards Ponto, and it was standing next to the blue one. So that one you smashed with your second arrow. The blue one is the only one that remains, and it is going to charge towards Ponto again. It gets all the way up to you at the door, and it is going to, let's see. Okay, it's going to make a bite attack. With a 23 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. All right. We're going to go down to a party of 2 players for the rest of the campaign. For damage, let's see. That's 1d6 plus 2. Lucky. 1 plus 2. 3 more piercing damage. How are you doing now, Ponto?
I'd say any point anything he does is gonna not be a good death.
Okay. So you're in really rough shape.
Yeah.
That does end the Velociraptor's turn. It is now your turn. You finally have your hands free. You can use any of your instruments or weapons or anything you can find in the room around you. You can slap it. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look at the guard that unshackled me. I'm assuming does he have my loot?
No, we'll assume all of your stuff was in your bag on your back, and then they just shackled your hands.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna pull my loot out, and I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna look at the Velociraptor. I'm gonna look square in the eye. And I'm gonna say, "Clever girl." And then I'm gonna cast Thunder Wave. Just
With
with
your loot?
the drum of my loot. Boom!
Okay. Dig-a-dun. A massive burst of sound energy slings forth from your loot. Thunder Wave. Let's see. Each creature in a 15-foot cube, so that's just going to be blue, little blue, makes a Constitution saving throw. What's your spell save DC?
13.
13. That is a 10, so it fails. So it takes 2d8 thunder damage and is pushed 10 feet back, which may or may not matter. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh, that was a D10. Hold on. I was
D8.
like, I rolled a 10 on a D8. 10. 5 and a 5.
Okay. It had 7 HP left. So, as this shockwave comes out, why don't you describe to me what happens to the last remaining cute little Velociraptor?
So, the one strum happens, and the Velociraptor kind of is pulverized into bits and clouds and pieces, and it starts raining down. And as all this is raining down, I walk through. I kind of look at everybody in the room and I say, "Yeah."
So as bits and pieces of Velociraptor are raining down, the sound for the rest of you inside is almost deafening. You're in this big, giant stone rectangle with a super high ceiling. It's like you're standing inside a subwoofer. And he just went bam. You all instinctively reach up and cover your ears. Because you're not within 15 feet, you don't take any damage. But that sound rings out for 300 feet. So it reverberates and bounces all in and around the throne room and then the palace itself and out into the city proper, which, interestingly enough, was the spell that you cast to get noticed by the guard in the first place who was bringing you here. Fun point of order. Maybe we'll come back to that later. But for now, all 3 Velociraptors have been defeated. Excellent work. As the sound starts to echo and reverberate its way down, the king peers out. I am the king, and I defeated 3 creatures.
Of course you did, sir. Of course you did, king.
He makes his way back out to the front of his throne and kind of hops his way back up to the throne. And he says, "Hey, you 3, approach me. I have come up with an idea. I am the king, and my royal brain thinks I have come up with something important to say. Approach me, quickly."
All right, I am going to quickly approach to the base of the steps, so I'm still a respectable distance. Kneel down kind of on one knee and be, "What do you wish, sire?"
Put your arm in the hole. Yeah, okay.
As you wish.
Okay. And the 2 of you, what are you doing?
I'm gonna walk over right next to Sir Diefrey, and I'm gonna just put my arm on his shoulder, kind of lean over.
I'm
Okay.
just going to kind of glance over at him, kind of glare at him for a second, and then just ignore him and look back at the king.
I will also approach, but on the other side of Sir Diefrey, because Ponto is covered with chocolate pudding and pieces of turkey lizards, and he probably smells.
Okay. Those are all accurate statements. Okay. As the 3 of you approach, the king says, I've been thinking, yes, I am the king, and my name is Jimmy the Stout. The chaos magic has been causing disruptions throughout the kingdom, and it needs to be stopped, yes. And if the 3 of you can go and find what's happening and stop it, then I will grant you the wishes and desires of your hearts. For you, I will move the logging operation away to a less interesting and enticing, Forrest. You will have permission to perform in the city without being executed. And as for you, Sir Dyfrey Penier, the not as mighty, the lesser, the newer, anyways, I'm trying to insult you in a royal way, yes.
Yes, sir.
um,
Of
you,
course, sir.
you said you were hoping to prove yourself worthy for greater and more important quests. Why don't you and these two go and stop this and save the kingdom, and then I'll know you're worthy of my respect, yes.
That's very generous of you, sir. I will do as you please. The only thing I ask in return for doing this is to maybe not be known as Sir Dyfrey Penier the Lesser, but maybe just Sir Dyfrey Penier in the future.
Yes, of course. We'll dub you with something appropriate at that time if you prove yourselves. Yes, of course.
Thank you, sire.
Yes, yes, of course. You, let us see. You three. Well, I've already sent off my favorite knight and his team to eliminate the issue. You can be the B team. And there's three of you, which is perfect because when one of you dies, then the one of you can come back to tell me, and the third one can keep working for me. So three is a perfect number. Do you
Thank you,
agree
sir.
to my terms?
I do, sir. As I kind of look at the other ones, like, say yes. Eowyn,
Uh,
say yes.
yes. Yes.
And then I'm going to lean over to Ponto and kind of slap his hand off my shoulder, so he kind of stumbles a bit and says, "If you don't say yes, you will be a dead man by morning."
And I look over at Sir Jimmy and do a rather regal bow. Of course, my liege.
Yes, you're learning, I see. Well, then, off with you quickly now. Go.
All right, Sir Penier, thank you, sir. As I turn to leave towards the door, kind of with my body gesturing that the others should follow, and I'm going to keep in my kind of regal knightly stance as I kind of strut out of the room.
Yeah. You look like you're doing a really good job at trying to look regal. Actually, make a performance check, will ya?
Yes. All right. Let me see. Performance. All right. Wish me luck. Ooh, that's not good. That's not good. I got a 1 and then +2 for like my modifier, so I got a 3.
Okay, so you think that you look awesome, but you're actually like and your two new companions see you looking like primo doofus as you clink clank clink in your armor and head out the door. You don't know that you look that bad, but you do.
I'm going to attempt to copy exactly what he did. And on my lute, play the song that you just did. The da 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 da.
Okay. So you hear this music coming from behind you as he plays that. And Anwin, are you following as well?
No, I'm going to curtsy and ask, Your Majesty, respectfully, where do we need to go in order to stop all this chaos?
Oh, yes. It seems like it would have been. I explained to the All-Star team already, and I forgot to tell you. We assume that the chaos magic is coming from the elves. It looks like you may know something of the elves. Yes, your people, as it were. So our realm here, the proper realm, is just one realm in this space, in this geographic area. There's also something called The Feywild is the name that people call it. And the Feywild is the land of the fairies and the mystical beasts, and especially the elves. And we've been at peace with the elves for quite some time now, but we think that maybe they're trying to do something a little strange and dirty to us. Yes. So find your way into the Feywild. Um, we've heard tales that some hunters and travelers get lost in the forest to the north. That they've accidentally stumbled into the Feywild, which is obvious when it happens because the colors are all different and the plants are bigger. And so I don't know, just muddle around in the North Forest. Isn't that where you said you were from?
Uh, Not the Feywild, but the North Forest. Yes.
Yes, so stumble around and you'll find it. And if not, then none of you get what you want, and that's fine for me. Any other questions?
No, thank you. And I'll turn around and see if I can follow the other two, but
Yes,
not
quickly
doing
now.
a dance.
Okay. So you undancingly follow the other two. And as the three of you make your way out and start on your journey towards hopefully trying to find an entrance into the Feywild, we're going to go ahead and take our break for tonight. So this is going to be a 10-minute break. By the way, Ponto, that chocolate pudding, it was dark chocolate pudding, turns out.
Even better.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So we're doing our giveaway now. Crazy things were happening over on Twitch. Sorry. So, in order to enter this giveaway from our good friends at Dungeon Journals, all you have to do is type the word buffalo into chat. So everybody you can type it as many times as you want, but you can only enter one time. If you type it 2, 3, 4 times, you still only entered once. All you do is type the word buffalo into chat, and then as soon as we get to the end of our 10-minute break, we'll announce who the winner is, and then our friends over at Dungeon Journals will send you one of these. At the end of the break, we will communicate to the winner, and if we don't hear back from you in the first during the second half of the session, then we will go on to the second place, the runner-up, and so on and so on and so on. So make sure you stick with us and find out who won, and the second half will be starting here in 10 minutes. Thanks for playing along. We'll see you all in a few minutes. All right. I believe we are back on here. All right. Okay. I don't think there's chaos incoming right now, but we are back and we are live. Thank you so much for sticking with us through the first half of the break and into the second half. A couple things to take care of before we jump into that. First of all, the winner of tonight's giveaway of one of the Buffalo Leather Dungeon Journals is East M. Eastem. EASTM, whoever that is, they won a Dungeon Journal giveaway. Thank you so much, Dungeon Journals. We love you. And Eastum, if you should be hearing from us, you should be getting contacted in the next few minutes here. If not, reach out to us directly. And if we don't hear from you or contact you by the end of the stream, again, we'll go down to the next person here. So Eastum, congratulations. Thank you, Dungeon Journals. We love you. If you're interested in supporting our show and what we're doing here, we do have a Patreon available at patreon.com/feywildgame. Every little bit helps, as we are volunteers who are doing this out of our own time and love and energy and pockets and paying for things like music licensing. So if you're interested in joining, we'd appreciate that. And Patreons can participate in polls throughout the weeks leading up to a session to help us design each session. You can also have your names featured in the end credits at the end of a session, and top tier patrons can actually play in specific private invite only one shots that we'll be doing within our game universe here. If you're interested in that, head over to patreon.com/feywildgame. Thank you. We love you. If you're interested in staying in touch about the game in between each session, the League Esports does have a special Discord channel specifically for Chaos of the Feywild. If you'd like to join, that Discord has over 800 gamers from around the world in it that talk about all the different tournaments and games that they're doing there. And there's a specific place in there for Chaos of the Feywild. So if you're interested in that, head over to theleagueesports.com or just ask some questions in chat. Kelsey is our community overseer. She'll help guide you in the right direction if you have any questions there. And also, while you're here, make sure you follow the League Esports, this Twitch channel right now, so you can get notified anytime they go live. And also, if you'd like to subscribe, we'd appreciate that as well. It definitely helps our friends at TLE. And those subscriptions, if you have Amazon Prime, you can do a free subscription through that. Every month, you basically get a free $5 credit from Amazon to subscribe to whoever you want. And we think it should be the League Esports because we love them and they are awesome. All right. With all that being said, oh man, I need some water. Let's hop into the second half of tonight's game. So let's play. The three of you have all exited the front door of the palace, and you're all standing there. Ponto, you're still semi-colored, semi-covered in dark chocolate pudding. Thank you, Twitch chat, for discerning that had to be dark chocolate. And you're all just out there. You have free reign from the king to do whatever you want. He asked you to go find out where the chaos magic is coming from. He thinks it's in the Feywild. He told the elf, Aenwyn, that he thinks she should probably know or whatever. What are you guys all doing?
All right. I'm going to kind of like I have, because I was like the first one to leave the room. As the other two leave the room, I'm going to kind of like resheath my sword, put the shield back on the back of my armor, and kind of take this huge and just kind of stare at Ponto and say, Ponto, come here for a second.
I kind of like gingerly like me.
And as he walks over, my idea was to kind of like shove him against the wall and start like being like, what the heck was that with the music? But as I see him walking over, I realize that Ponto is super injured. And like I'm about to basically like punch him, and then I stop. And Ponto, you're injured, aren't you?
Yeah. No, I really hurt.
Yeah, as you look at him, you see there's still blood just kind of pouring off the back of his leg where he got that one big bite on his Achilles tendon. You can even see like the color is starting to fade. He's actually on his way towards death. He's probably in really rough shape.
All right. Well, in that case, as I'm still going to kind of make it like a really aggressive movement because I'm still mad at him. I'm going to reach out with my hand and just like grab him by the shoulder and kind of go, "All right, stand still, Ponto." And then I am going to use another spell, and I am going to use so many spells, so little time. All right, I am going to use lay on hands pool. I have basically a mana pool of 10, and as long as I am touching them, I can restore basically how much of that mana pool as I want into their HP.
Hmm. And interestingly enough, because you're a paladin, that actually doesn't use one of your spell slots.
Oh, really?
So you just, yep, it's just a separate feature that because you're a paladin, you have this divine connection where you can heal people without having to use that. You also do have a healing spell called Cure Wounds,
Yeah.
which would take a spell slot. This, though, is just a free thing you can do every day.
Yeah, since I'm right next to him and I'm within like being able to actually physically touch him, I'm going to use that and then basically use as much as the pool as I can. So if I can use all 10 of the mana pool, I will heal all 10 of his wounds.
Kanto, could you take 10 healing?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
I would love
So
to.
what were you at? You were at
I was at 1.
1. Okay. Yeah, 1 HP. And now you're at 11. And what's your total max?
11.
11. Okay, so you because he's so little and because he's level 2 and because he is a bard, he only has 11 HP at all. You as a human, you've got, all this training and all this. You have a lot more hit points than he does. You restore him from almost all the way dead to entirely as healthy as he can be, just with this one gesture.
I'm gonna feign like I'm still faint. I'm like, I think you need to carry me. I'm gonna jump into his hands, or into his arms, and go, oh.
I'm gonna walk out because I was a little bit behind them. Okay, am I interrupting something?
No, Ponto here was just here, catch
I
as
don't
I
want to.
shove like kind of throw him at her and then turn to kind of like walk out of the room.
I jump back because he's still covered with pudding, dark chocolate pudding. No, thank you. And turkey lizard guts, gross. Anyway, Feywild, coming.
Yeah, we should probably start looking for that. Here, let's well, as much as it pains me to say it, I think some members in our group might need a wash. So, let's head on over to the stable, shall we? And we can make a plan from there. As I still kind of disgustingly look at Ponto and walk out towards the stables.
And in turn, I'm gonna look at A and Win, and be like, yeah, somebody really does need a shower. And then I'm gonna follow you.
Okay, you two head towards the stables. Awen, what are you doing?
Well, at least he admits it, and then I'll follow them, but like a distance behind, so I don't have to smell them.
Okay, so you stay 60 feet behind, so you don't have to smell them.
Social
You all
distancing.
arrive. You arrive at the stables, and there are a couple horses there. There's a couple caretakers. You see there are a few buckets of water and brushes for cleaning the horses. There's no hoses. You can't spray with a hose because those don't exist. The best thing you're going to be able to do is just splash each other with water buckets.
All right. So I'm going to walk over to one of the clean water bugs, the one that hasn't been yet used to clean one of the horses, and pick it up and kind of just like throw it all over to clean off the armor. Since Ponto here jumped into my arms, I assume I have guts and chocolate on me. And right after I do that, I'm going to walk over to one that has been used, grab it, and then just like quickly turn around and just throw as much water out of it onto Ponto, trying to clean him off.
All right, Ponto, there's water headed towards you. Are you going to try and resist, or are you just going to let it happen?
Just gonna let it happen.
Okay. You are the familiar scent of dark chocolate pudding and velociraptor guts begins to fade as you've been splashed with the horse water, and you're all now nice and clean, or as clean as you get in this type of situation. And yeah.
So, Eowyn. It was Eowyn, correct?
A and win. Yes.
Eowyn. My apologies. Have you heard of this Feywild? You say you are from the forest to the north. Can you tell us anything about this? Anything that we are to encounter on this quest of sorts?
In the forest or in the Feywild? Because the
Well, have
forest.
you heard have anything you know? And like, is the Feywild something common to you, or is this, do you know of it?
I do know of it. Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
Please do tell. Enlighten us on anything, any knowledge you can give us
okay. So
about the area.
sure. I want you to imagine plants. Okay. Now imagine them bigger. It's the Feywild. Oh,
The
colors. Think about all the colors you know. Okay. And then add a lot more colors. It's the Feywild.
Well, that doesn't help. Ponto, do you know anything about the Feywild?
Um, as he looks over at me, he sees that I'm like taking my clothes off, but I'm also gonna
Ugh.
cast disguise self to have clothes on, like to make it look like I have clothes on. And I'm gonna like sit down in one of the buckets.
Okay, you're gonna sit down in an empty horse water bucket.
No, is there how many were there only 2 buckets?
There's a few other buckets, but they're all full of dirty horse water.
Yeah, I'll sit in one.
Okay.
Like jacuzzi.
Yeah. Okay, so you're now in a bucket, and with your little tiny frame, like you can actually kind of like down into the bucket, but now your hands and your feet are all kind of like straight up, and you are make a dexterity saving throw.
14.
Okay, you'll be able to get out.
But
You're
I'm
not
gonna.
entirely stuck.
I'll then respond. I'll say, I don't know anything about the Feywild. Only that it's probably wild. Probably contains some Fey creatures.
Both true.
Ah,
So, I just want to get this straight. What you're telling me is we have just accepted a quest from the king in order to make basically all our dreams come true, everything we've worked so hard for, and all of it relies on the fact that there are big plants, it's colorful, and there's fairies. Am I getting that all right, Eowyn?
A and win. No. It relies on us finding whatever's causing this chaos,
And
which is significantly harder than going to the Feywild.
in your description of this Feywild, do you have any idea of what that might be? I know you
Oh
said
no, the whole place is chaos.
this is not going to be as easy as I thought.
So the forest is to the north. Do you want to walk or are we getting horses?
Well, that is actually what I think we should decide right now. How long is the journey to the Feywild?
So the forest to the north, outside of the city walls, there's maybe a 15-minute walk to get to the edge of the forest, and that's a very very dense, thick, large forest that goes for hundreds of square miles, up into the nearby mountains and all over the place. So there's basically this huge forest, and then this city, right where it meets the water. So people get lost in there. People live in there. There's tribes of people living in there. It's this huge open place. Anwin, your home is probably 4 hours walking, or 2 hours by horseback from the palace to get to there. And that's, yeah, some geography for you.
All right. Well, I think you're right. We should get some steeds and make our way to the city, get some supplies, and go to this Feywild. As I assume you guys are all coming with me, um, or would any of you guys like to back out now?
Yeah, Ponto's never backed out from a fight.
Never backed out of a bucket either. All right, let's as I am going to walk kind of over to some steeds that we can use as me being a knight, and like you said the king said we could kind of do as we please. I'm going to bring out two like really beautiful stallions if there are like big horses, and kind of not throw but kind of like push like the reins into, is it Aowen?
Aenwin.
Aenwin.
2 N's.
As the second time I did purposely get it wrong because I was mad. Aenwin hands, and then jump on the other one as if we are not just going to give a horse to Ponto, who is still in the bucket.
Go over to
Ponto,
the,
you, sorry.
go over to the side. Is the stable hand the person in charge of the stable? Is he around?
Yep.
I want to look at him. I want to cast charm person.
Okay.
I want to say,
Well, he makes a wisdom saving throw to attempt to resist with a 2. So yeah, he is charmed.
"Oi, we're here for the horses that we left for you." Now, I remember you said that there was a stallion for the small one, and for the elf, and there was a pony for the knight. Could you go get the pony for us, please?
He looks at you and he looks at them mounting their horses. That doesn't seem right to me. I'll go get you something that's more your size. And he comes back out with this adorable brown and white pony, gorgeous, gorgeous hair. This is what we call the starter. You can have it for the afternoon because you seem like a nice fellow. But you try and get on one of those big ones, you'll be stuck up there or you'll be dead in an hour.
I appreciate the help. And
You seem like a nice fellow. Let me give you a tip. Don't be slapping it like it's a normal horse. You gotta be gentle. You gotta kind of nuzzle it down right on the back of its head. Just kind of nuzzle right down in there, and it'll be your best friend.
I hop out of the tub. I get my clothes. I put them in my pack. I'm still disguised self. I hop onto the is it a horse or a pony?
Yours is a pony, or
Okay.
it's technically it's a miniature horse.
Cool. I hop into the miniature horse, slap it on the butt to go towards the section of to start going towards the forest.
Okay. I'm gonna have all three of you roll for me animal handling. Ponto, you are rolling at disadvantage because it doesn't like getting slapped. It likes getting nuzzled.
I just rolled a natural 20 though. And the second one was a 19. So
Animal handling, you need to get a 10 or above to handle the horse. Die free? What was that? What'd you get there?
My dear sir, I have rolled a 1, and then my animal handling skills is -1, and that is a 0.
Oh,
That is
wow!
a full-blown 0.
0.
I have not tried to get the horse to move yet. Just saying. Just pointing that out there.
Okay. The horse absolutely hates you. I'm not sure why that you failed as incredibly miserably as you did. But to get a 0 out of 20 is pretty notable. So that's a critical failure -1. The horse hates you, and we're gonna find out what happens based on that. So you're definitely struggling to get on it, and it's kind of like it doesn't like you at all. 0. I don't know if that's if we can get in the history books that somebody rolled We had a natural 20 during the first combat, and somebody just rolled a 0 here a few minutes later to charm a horse, or at least to try and handle it. Okay, awesome. Anwin, how did you do?
17.
17, definitely better than a 0. Okay, so the two of you have no problem on the horse, but Sir Diaphragm Penier, you are going to struggle throughout the journey. You're going to have to continue making animal handling checks as it's going to try and buck you off every half hour or so. So you all get a half hour into the woods. Diaphragm, go ahead and roll for animal handling. See if you can calm this beast.
All right. I used the digital one last time. We're using the actual one this time. All right, don't feel me now. All right, I got a 6 minus 1, that's 5.
Okay. 6 minus 1, 5. Yeah, it bucks you off. Go ahead and roll for me a d4.
This one, right? Triangle?
Yes, sir.
I got a 1.
Okay, you take 1 bludgeoning damage as you thump onto the ground. And let's see. No, the horse doesn't run away this time. But you can remount it, and in another half hour of travel, we'll find out if you get bucked off again. So you're still heading north into the forest, and when you're kind of leading them towards the area that you think might work, you've got the time to talk to each other if you'd like. Aenwyn, is there a specific landmark you're looking towards? Or are you heading towards home, or kind of where are you taking everybody?
I'm headed towards home, but I'm looking for a very large tree that I remember from my childhood as leading into the Feywild. It's pretty unusually shaped, like it goes up and then bends again. And it's really large.
Okay. Make for me, Aenwyn, a survival check to see if you're getting a sense of the surroundings and finding your way there.
9.
9. Okay, it's tough. You're not seeing anything that's super familiar and obvious. It's been a long time since you've seen this tree. So for the second half hour of travel, you don't find it. You've now traveled for 1 hour. Sir Diaphragm Penier, why don't you go ahead and roll an animal handling check to see if you get bucked off the horse again. Since you rolled a 0 earlier.
I got I got a 3 minus 1, that is a 2.
Okay. Your horse bucks you off, so go ahead and roll a d4 for falling damage.
I got a 4.
Okay. So it rears up and starts to running, and you fall off, kind of head over tea kettle, smash on the ground. You take 4 more bludgeoning damage, and your horse runs off back in the direction you came. And it's gone. Your horse is gone. You are
Alright.
not great at handling this horse. It just was sick of you and your terrible rolls, and you're now on foot.
All right, so I assume
go.
I'm on the ground. I am going to pick myself up, kind of start brushing myself off. Just be like, well, that's never happened before. At least
First day
no.
on a horse?
Let's say that horses have never been very kind to me, and I've never been very, how do we put it, kind to a horse, especially after one does that. I guess the only options here are to have 2 of us ride together, or for me to go on foot and for us to slow down our pace. Ianwyn, as our guide, what do you think would be best?
I think you should get on the horse because if we slow down, that's more of my forest they're going to chop down. And I don't have time for that.
All right. So I am going to go to kind of like hop on her horse with her. Knowing my character, I'm going to knowing my character, I am going to walk up to Awen and then kind of gesture for her to get off the horse so I can like be the one in front, if that makes sense.
I saw what you did with the last horse. I'll drive.
Highly unusual, but seeing as what happened last time, I guess I can allow it as I kind of like disgruntledly hop on behind her.
I pull up with my horse beside their horse. I'm kind of sitting on it backwards, playing my lute. And I look over at Daifury. I look at my seat and I kind of pat it and I'm like, "You can always sit with me."
As you pat the back of the horse, you look down and see that there's a brand on the horse. And it says, "This starter horse has the name Dark Chocolate."
Oh.
Somebody took the time to build a custom brand to put that on the name of the horse. Thank you, Twitch chat, for protesting until we did that. So, starter horse is officially named Dark Chocolate.
Okay. And when I see that, I kind of nuzzle my head backwards into its mane. Oh, I'm sorry they had to brand you Dark Chocolate.
And as he does so, is he within reach? Can I reach his horse from where I am on my horse?
My
No, because
horse.
you have to keep your hands around Aenwyn's torso to stay on the horse.
Dang it!
Because you're
All right.
just like with every step you're like almost falling off. You were pretty bad before, and now you're sharing like half a saddle. So no, you can't do
Alright.
anything with your hands.
All right. Then I'm just going to look over at Ponto, who's mocking me, and just be like, "Not another word."
I wouldn't ride with him. I don't think he's wearing actual clothes.
Yeah, did you ever put clothes back on, or did
No, I
you?
have disguised self on me, so I'm like with the disguised self, just with like fake clothes.
Okay. So it's been 1 hour of travel, and that spell lasts 1 hour. So as this is all happening, the illusionary clothing on you just disappears, and you are now a naked halfling bard on a starter horse named Dark Chocolate.
I take the loot and I put it down a little bit lower to cover.
And then as I'm seeing this, I'm going to kind of like, because I'm looking at him, like, not another word, as then all his clothes just magically disappear. It's going to be like, oh, my eyes! And then, like, lean to the side and fall off the horse again.
Okay. You have a series of these silly little happenstances with the three of you on your two horses and falling on and off and being naked and not naked, and you continue making your way through the woods. Anwin, go ahead and make for me at this point a survival check with advantage. So you roll twice and take the higher of the two.
15.
15. You
That's good.
spot. Sorry.
Which is good because I also rolled a 1.
Thank goodness you had advantage. You have advantage in this case because you're actually getting pretty close to your home, and you're now in the territory that you're much more familiar with. You do spot a few familiar trees and can kind of piece back together the memories of how to find this one strange tree. And you do come upon a tree that's kind of in a clearing almost. Not a huge clearing, but there's definitely like only small, new growth, and then one bigger tree in the middle that has a couple weird curves in it. And it seems familiar, like it's the tree you remember from your childhood. What would you like to do?
I will dismount but hold on to the reins because I don't trust that other guy with the horse. And walk over to the tree to examine it.
Okay, so you take the horse with Daifury on it over to the tree. What are you looking for on the tree?
I'm going to look around for a knot in the wood. And I'm gonna like tap on them.
Okay, so you start kind of feeling around and touching the tree. Go ahead and roll for me an investigation check.
That's a 5.
5. Okay, it takes you probably 20 minutes. It's been a long time since you've seen this tree, but eventually, instead of being able to just walk up and be like boop, you have to kind of almost massage it and like try and like get your hands between the bark creases and stuff and find your way around. You get back to a spot that you've examined 3 or 4 times already and realize this was the knot that you were looking for. During the 20 minutes of her circling around the tree and touching it, what are the two of you doing?
Well, I have hopped off the horse and kind of like gotten as much distance as I can while still being around the group from me and the horse, and kind of just breathing heavily as I've gotten sick from just riding on this horse the whole way, as I'm just kind of like leaning on my sword, trying to catch my breath.
Okay. And then Ponto, what are you up to?
I'm just sitting there watching what seems to be something slightly erotic with a tree.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought was happening, but everyone tells their own tale. So you just watch in an interesting way. Eventually, at the end of the 20 minutes of poking and prodding, Aenwyn, you do find a knot that you're able to push in, and as you do so, part of the bark starts to open up, kind of like a crease, like a book opening almost, and the tree goes from being 4 feet wide to kind of stretching itself out to 5, 6, 7, 8 feet, and there's basically an open doorway now in the base of the tree. You have found what you were looking for.
Ah, found it.
Okay, so the two of you see the tree open itself up, and Aenwyn, you see as you're the closest to it, that this opening, there's kind of like stairs made out of like wood and bark and dirt that just goes down into the earth, large enough for someone to walk down into.
All right, as I was catching my breath over kind of in the corner, I'm going to hear this, look around, and kind of like jump to my feet and just, Eowyn, what the heck did you do to that tree?
I'm conspicuously not saying anything.
It's a door. It's a door to the Feywild.
You're telling me that you felt up that tree for 20 minutes to make it into a door?
No, there's a latch.
Okay, that works. I guess we should go down into this tree. Can we leave the horses here, please? Gosh, let me please leave the horses here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to. They'll just be like bait in the Feywild.
Is
All
my
right, should we...
horse big enough to get him through?
It is definitely not big enough for any horses, even the little one.
Okay.
All right, well, I don't see how we can just leave them tied up here. We should probably send them back where they came from. They should know the way home, and then I just basically suggest that we basically whack them and have them run back to the stables.
Why you gotta hit the horse? Just let go.
And I'm gonna
Actually hitting it, I'm just telling it to get out of here. How would you do that?
Hey, horse, get out of here.
and while they're saying that, I'm gonna put 2 gold pieces inside like the saddle, like the side saddle pocket. Hopefully for the stableman to find later. And I'm attempting to do it inconspicuously so that the other 2 don't see.
Okay. The horses look around for a second and just kind of trot off into the woods on their own. And after a minute or two, they kind of disappear behind trees. And you bid farewell to Dark Chocolate and the other one that didn't have a name.
Good riddance.
What would you like to do now?
All right, I am going to just kind of, now that I am finally off a forsaken horse, I'm going to just kind of walk in front of them and start walking down the stairs without saying anything.
Okay. So you go down first. Dyfree, you as you come down this weird set of like naturally occurring stairs, you get down into basically what seems like a tunnel that's been dug underground. It's about 10 feet wide, left to right, relatively low ceilings. You got about 20 feet ahead of you, and then it turns to the right.
All right, I'm going to wait there and kind of like look back where I came from up the stairs, as I assume they haven't followed me yet, and just call back to them. You guys coming, or should I go on without you?
Be right there. And then I turn to Ponto. You gotta put clothes on for the Feywild. It's a rule. They'll like kill you on sight if you're naked, and then I'll go down the stairs.
All right. So naked Ponto on your own with no clothes and no horses at the top of the stairs in the middle of the woods. What would you like to do?
I would like to put clothes on.
Okay, you do that, and now you're not naked.
And I follow. I follow along, pull my lute out. I just kind of hum a little tune as I'm walking through.
Okay. You all get down into this kind of tunnel, and again you see it's kind of this cramped, weird. Maybe somebody dug it. Maybe it's naturally occurring. As you're making your way through the kind of winding tunnel, there are a lot of tree roots that are sticking down. Some that are kind of just right beneath the ceiling, and some that are kind of following around the curvature of the tunnel itself. You wind around for a little bit and then see that the tunnel opens up into a large, round area, kind of a chamber of sorts. In this about 80 feet wide from side to side, a circular chamber, and you see there are some larger tree roots now that have actually grown down all the way from the ceiling down past through the floor. There's one very large root off to the right, so it's kind of almost acting like a pillar in the room. Several off in the back left, there's kind of a string of several of them hanging down, and then one large one in the back right of the room. At the far end of the room, you see more tunnel. On the far right of the room, you see a stone chest, almost like it's a stone chest. And in the center of the room, there is a single wooden table. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go over to the chest.
Okay.
And I'm gonna look back
Ponto?
at. I'm gonna look back at Anwin. I'll say, "Do you know about this chest?"
Okay, so I think we should have some guidelines before we get to the Feywild, because, anyway, first, don't lick anything. Second,
You say lick anything.
don't lick anything. No, nothing. Don't lick anything.
All right, that seems like an easy rule to follow.
You finish saying don't lick anything, and then you hear a strange sound coming from the center of the room. Ponto, you've just about reached the chest at this point. Aenwyn, you're following behind him. So Aenwyn, you're now directly behind the large tree root that has grown from ceiling to floor. And Dyfrey, you're still at the entrance. So Aenwyn, you've kind of circled around to the right, as has Ponto. But you hear kind of a thumping like coming from the center of the room as you all turn to look and see that the table is alive, and has started galloping its way towards Ponto, to attempt to destroy him. So why don't you all roll for initiative, as you have angered the animated table. Oh, and there was a wave of blue energy before the table started moving. Chaos magic has happened.
I got a 4.
Okay.
I've got myself a 19.
Okay, 19's pretty good.
18.
18. Interestingly enough, Table rolled a 21. So Table goes first, and is going to make a ram attack against Ponto. So it is galloping its way over, and the wood is extra bendy, like it's like half organic, half wood. Kind of like, I don't know, from Fantasia with the dun 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 dun, right? So it's like moving a little bit and kind of like bending and flopping as on its way over to you. And as it gets to you, it just kind of rears up on one side and tries to slam itself against you. So that is a ram attack against Ponto with a 13 plus 6 to hit. Does 19 hit?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Okay. Okay, Ponto. You are going to take, let's see. You are very lucky. You take 6 bludgeoning damage. I rolled 2 ones on the damage dice for that. Okay. Ponto, an animated table has just slammed itself into you. You didn't get knocked off your feet in this case, but you just got hit by a table. It's your turn. What would you like to do? And by the way, Aenwyn, you're on deck.
I'm just gonna look at it. I'm gonna cast Vicious Mockery. I'm gonna say, "Oh, you look a little bit like balsa wood. Not even the good mahogany." Cast Vicious Mockery.
You mock that table so viciously, but because it's not something with a brain, it can't take psychic damage. So you did a really good job, but you did 0 psychic damage to it because it's immune to psychic damage.
Cool.
And then, real quick, as I see him doing this, as I have no idea that he can like cast spells, I'm going to call over. What are you doing? Shouting and insulting at that. We need to kill this thing.
I put my finger up to like tell him to be quiet.
So Dyfree, we'll say that you say that on your turn, which isn't yet,
Right.
but
Got it.
that's how you start your turn. Ponto, is there anything else you want to do on your turn after mocking the table?
Gonna run over to behind the chest.
Yeah, there's enough room behind the chest. You can definitely squeeze behind as a halfling. A full-size person would have a hard time doing this, but you can just kind of sneak back in there.
No, it's my turn.
Okay, all right. Aenwyn, you just saw a table awaken and smash into Ponto. He mocked it and then hid behind a stone chest. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna let nature take its course. No, I'm just kidding. I'll pull my bow out and I'll shoot at the table.
Okay. Roll to hit with your arrow.
13 plus, a 20.
Natural 20 or 20 total?
No, 20 total.
Okay, that definitely hits. So, an arrow sticks right into the side of the table. Go ahead and roll for damage.
10.
10 damage. Okay. A chunk of wood falls off as the arrow kind of slices where there's a natural seam in the wood, and it just kind of splinters off.
Then I will back up.
Okay. So you were able to. Yep. Okay. And you're right there. Perfect. Okay. Good job, Aenwyn. Sir Dyfree Penier, at the beginning of your turn, it sounds like you're insulting the insulter. And then what are you going to do?
I am going to run at it, dash at it, with sword drawn, not shield, so I can grip the sword in 2 hands and try to make a slashing attack at it.
Okay. Go ahead. To hit.
All right.
You have a +5 to hit with your longsword.
All right. I got an 8.
8. Okay. You don't time it right, and your sword goes between 2 slats of the wood, like it's a picnic table. So you missed,
All right.
even with 2 hands.
As I do so, I'm kind of gonna mutter under my breath, "This is by far the worst quest ever." And then I am going to kind of just like, do I have enough time to bring out my shield now after I've done the slash?
Sure. We'll say that you can end your turn by doing that, so you now have your extra armor from that, and you'll do a little bit less damage with your sword starting next turn. Yep.
Got it. So I'm going to bring out my shield, kind of bring it in front of me, preparing for it to attack me. And then
Okay.
I'm going to call over to Ponto. Can I still call over to him?
No, you already used your talking at the beginning of the turn to tell him he was dumb.
Got it.
Cool. All right. That's the end of round 1 of combat. Round 2 of combat starting now. begins with the table taking its turn. Having been shot with an arrow. Well, first of all, hold on. Let me move. Okay. Having been shot with an arrow, the table kind of turns. It's kind of humorous and cartoony as it does, and starts to make a gallop towards Aenwyn. It gets up to you and tries to slam you as well with a ram attack. And that is a 11 plus 6, 17 to hit.
Yep.
Does that hit? Okay. Let's see if you're lucky on the damage. No. That is 11 bludgeoning damage.
Got it.
You really upset this table, and it smashes hard into you. After it does that, it kind of backs up and kind of gets down like a puppy that's playing, or like a tiger that's ready to pounce. But it looks like it's going to try and attack you again on its next turn. But that's where it ends. Ponto. From behind the chest, you see that the table has just successfully not been hit by the sword attack. Gallops over, smashed into Aenwyn, so it's now to your left. So she's back there. There's the large tree root that's kind of a pillar almost. She is to the left of that with the table. You have direct line of sight on the table, and it's about 20 feet away from you. What would you like to do?
Can I tell if the chest is locked or not?
Roll for me. What's your passive perception?
18.
18. Okay. You would have noticed as you were getting in there that there was no lock on it. It's just kind of like a big chest, and then it's made out of stone, so it's like a big stone rectangle, right? And then a flat slab on top.
Okay. So does it open like a normal chest, or is it like something you have to push that's on?
You would have to push, which would take a decent amount of effort. You can't just sneak your hand down in there.
Yeah. From behind it, I'm gonna attempt to push the slab to the front so that it opens like that.
Okay. Go ahead and make for me an athletics check.
20. Natural 19 plus 1.
Jeez. Okay. With your little halfling fingers, you're able to get just enough purchase underneath it to kind of loosen it, and then it slides freely off, surprisingly quickly for the weight of it. And it is now all the way open. There are several items down inside as you peer in. Would you like to do something with those items?
Is there enough space for me to get into the chest myself?
Absolutely, yeah. It's the size of a small, not quite a mini fridge, but halfway between a mini fridge and a regular fridge.
Okay.
And there are 3 or 4 items in there, but there's definitely enough room for you to just sink on it.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in. And because I'm more focusing on the table. I'm not actually gonna pay attention to what items are inside, but I am jumping in and I'm gonna pull out my crossbow.
Okay.
And I'm gonna yell at the table, "Oi, attack the one with the shield!"
Okay, you yell that at the table. And it's the end of your turn. Aenwyn, you're up, and Difer, you're on deck.
Okay. I am going to. Oh no! I'm going to kick the table. Why all these things gotta be up in my face?
Okay.
So that's athletics. To kick it away from me.
Just to try and push it? Yes. So that would be a shove. So yeah, make an athletics check, and it will try to resist with its own athletics check. 6. It rolled a 2 plus. Hold on. Plus 3. It rolled a 5 total. So like wood scraping across a kitchen floor, you're able to just put your foot on and just push it away.
Okay. I would like to use my bonus action for second wind and regain
Okay.
1d10 plus 2.
Okay. You get a bunch of health back. Go ahead and roll for that.
Ooh, a 10. Phoenix dice.
What was it?
A 10.
10 total?
Hmm.
Wow. Okay. So you push it back, you take a couple deep breaths and kind of refocus, get 10 health back, which is amazing. And that's going to be the end of your turn, unless there's anything else you
Yep.
want to do.
I don't think there's anything else I can do.
Sir Diaphragm Penier, you see her push back the table and then take a big breather. What are you doing?
All right, so first off, I'm going to start my turn by calling over to an Aenwin. Are you okay? Do you need help?
Good.
You sure?
Yep. Yep.
All right. As I obviously don't believe her, as I saw the table just absolutely crash into her, I am assuming I can get there. Going to have a second attempt to dash over and this time with my shield out, just in case it attacks, swing at it with a one-armed strike.
Okay. So you make a slash with your sword against it, trying not to swing directly between the slats of the table. Go ahead and roll to hit.
All right. Let's do this. This better work. Oh, that's a lot better. I got a 19 plus 5. That is a 24 to hit.
24 definitely hits. Thunk! Your sword comes down right in the center of the table. Go ahead and roll for damage. And as a paladin, remember that you actually can add your extra divine energy to smite your foes if you would like to on a
Right.
successful hit.
Got it. And then that is a 1d8, correct?
If you're choosing to smite, that is an extra, yes, I believe D8. Hold on.
Well, no, I mean the long sword as well.
Yeah, 1 second. Longsword is 1d8 plus 3 for the damage.
All right. And then, yes, I will use Divine Smite for that extra. Or actually, this says it's 2d8s.
Yeah, so the natural damage you do from your sword is 1d8 plus 3. If you want to smite it and get the extra divine energy, it's an additional 2d8 radiant damage for a first level smite, unless it's undead, which it's not.
All right.
So go ahead and roll 3d8 and then add 3 to that number, and that's how much damage you do to the table.
All right. Well, we started off with a 0.
Oh, on a 0?
Well, no, I'm saying I'm rolling it 3 times. So the first one was a 0.
You can't roll a 0.
What happened?
It means you're probably rolling a D10, and you roll 10.
This is a D8 here. It looks like a diamond. You're probably rolling a D10, which is this
I
guy
think
here.
I was.
Yeah, there's no zeros on a D8.
This is a D10.
Although that would be on brand for you to roll a 0. You can't technically do that right now.
All right. Just going to make sure. This is the D8.
Yes, roll that
All
3
right, let's
times
do
and
this
add the
again.
number 3 to it.
All right. I got 16 damage.
16 total.
16 total.
All right, you smite the crap out of that table. It is not dead, but you have just 2 of the big slats from the inside of the table have just smashed through. So of the 4 slats on the table, there's the far right one that's been fairly damaged. There's a far left one that's fine, and the 2 in the middle just smashed through. As you smited it with your divine fury and just smashed the crap out of this picnic table.
Awesome.
And yeah, that is the end of your turn. So at the top of the round, it is now Table's turn again. Table, feeling not awesome about life, is going to pivot around and start trying to escape out the back of the room in the direction that you guys would have continued to head. It's in really rough shape at this point after it was just smote. Is anybody going to try and stop it? It has enough movement to get all the way out of the room. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. Well, it's gonna spend its turn dashing and basically sprinting as much as the table can sprint, and gets all the way to the back of the room, um, and into the next portion of the tunnel. So in order for any of you to hit it, you're gonna have to move and get within line of sight of it. And that's what table does for its turn. Ponto, you're up, and Anwin, you're on deck.
I'm gonna jump out of the chest with my crossbow. I'm gonna get as clear a shot as I can. I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna put my crossbow like this, and I'm just gonna shoot.
Okay, you'll have to get about 10 feet into the room to be able to see down the hallway, if that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
All right, and then go ahead and roll for crossbow.
Just gonna show everybody. Well, that is a natural 20 right there.
Oh, geez. Thank you, Phoenix Dice, for that natural 20. Okay. Well, yeah, go ahead and roll for damage. And again, you're doubling the total dice, and on the doubled dice, you're rolling max, because that's a critical hit. Beer, 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 beer.
Okay. So I rolled a 7,
Okay.
and so that's doubled. Is what you're saying?
Let me just pull up here. So with your, how much did your crossbow do?
1d8.
Then yes. So you do, you roll the first die, and then you add a second d8, but that d8 is automatically an 8.
Oh, okay. So it is.
That'd be 15, and then
15.
plus your dex is 3.
Yeah.
Okay. That's definitely enough to destroy the table as it's attempting to flee from you. Why don't you tell us what happens there?
I take one single bolt, and it flies through the air, and to everybody else, it almost seems to slow down as it's spinning, and the sound of the poof, 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 poof starts to kind of go towards everybody, and then quiet, and then thump, as it hits square in the middle of this table.
Okay. It hits after that odd moment of slowdown and extra drama. And you see it hit, and then like for a second, and then the table just turns into splinters and sawdust and just falls all over the ground, entirely destroyed by this incredibly aimed and shot crossbow bolt. Congrats on your second big finish of the night. Okay, so the three of you are now in the room. Danger has subsided. All that's left in the room are these hanging branches, which don't do anything, and there is a stone chest that Ponto opened before he destroyed the table. What would you all like to do?
Dyfree, I think you probably would want to go heal Aenwin.
No, I'm good.
And
I feel a lot better.
And
are you sure?
Yep.
I keep prodding as I'm slowly backing up towards the chest to look inside.
Okay.
I don't think Aenwin is really in the mood to be healed right now, but Ponto, I must this is hard. Apologize to you. That was a very good shot, sir.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. But on a side note, after that, what was the chest you saw? Was there anything in it? You hopped in it for some reason.
No,
I'm sure you have.
there was nothing in it. You should probably go check on that where the table left.
No. Come on now, Ponto. There must be something in it, as I'm going to start walking kind of towards him as he's still backing up towards the chest.
As you're both getting closer to the chest, one more wave of blue chaos magic floods the chamber that you're in, and the contents of that chest have just changed.
All right.
Who's looking in the chest?
I am going to kind of quickly, if I can, unless Ponto tries to stop me, kind of quickly walk by him to go peer into the chest.
And I
Okay.
turn around, I'm like trying to block his body while also
Okay.
trying to open the chest.
Yeah. You comedically try and block him from getting into the chest, but both of you peer down into the chest and you see 4 items. You see 2 small red potions that look like potions of healing because they are potions of healing. There's also a cloth sack, like one of those backpacks with like the drawstring backpack, but made out of a light gray, almost velvety cloth, and also rolling around loosely, now moving, which nothing was moving in there when you were in there, Ponto. But what has appeared in there is a pearl that's just kind of rolling to a stop after it appeared inside this chest.
I'm going to go for that velvety bag.
Okay. You grab the bag and open it up and look inside, and there is a tremendous amount of room inside that bag. It is a magical bag that's called a bag of holding, that can hold an inordinate amount of objects and items, um, much larger than it should be able to because it's enchanted.
I look to the other two. I'm like, I think I need a new bag. I'll take this one. And I start emptying the contents of my bag into this bag.
Okay.
All right, I am going to attempt to grab um, the health potions first. Can I also grab the pearl as well, or just one item? Because if so, I just want to grab the health potions.
Anyone can grab anything. I guess it depends on what Aenwyn's up to.
All right, I'm going to grab the health potions. You said there was 2 of them, correct?
Yeah, 2 small vials with a red liquid.
All right,
that are-
I'm going to grab both of them, kind of glance back at Aenwyn, and I know she had already turned down my offer to heal her, but feeling bad as I have kind of treated her probably unfairly throughout this whole quest, I'm going to say, "Here, catch," and I'm going to throw one of the red vials over to her.
Okay.
That glass. Try and catch it.
Make a dexterity saving throw. 5 or above, you
9.
catch it. Okay, you're good. You're able to just snatch it out of the air, and now you each have your own healing potion. Aenwyn, what else are you up to?
I'm just watching these two, and when they start rummaging around in the chest, I'll just remind them, don't lick any of that.
Ponto, how much would I have to give you for you to lick this pearl right now?
I like outwardly, I'm like, oh, I think we should listen to Eowyn on this one. And like off to the side, I'm like, 3 pieces of gold.
As I kind of lean over, we'll talk later. And then I am going to reach in and grab the pearl.
As you grab the pearl, you feel it pulsing with arcane energy. This is what's called a pearl of power, and anybody who casts magic spells can use this pearl 1 time per day to recover a spell slot that they have expended.
Oh, that is great.
You as you pick it up, you feel some of that divine magic that you used to make that smite happen. You can kind of feel it fade away as you do that. Some of that just came back when you picked up this pearl.
Mhm. I don't know what this pearl is. Aenwyn, have you ever seen anything like this before? As I kind of gesture, hold it out for her to get a good look at it. As she is, you said you were still on the other side of the room, correct?
It looks like a pearl.
Yes. Okay. As I am just then going to, if I have a bag on me or any type of way to carry it, I'm going
Sure.
to put it in my pocket or whatever.
Okay. So if you spend an hour playing with it and getting used to it, you can become attuned to it, and then you will be able to use it once per day to recover a spell slot.
All right.
Anybody could. You just happen to have it right now.
All right. Once I do it, can I give it to them for them to have the same ability?
No, it can only be attuned to one person at a time.
Got it. All right. So I'm going to put it in my pocket, but I'm going to kind of fiddle with it whenever I can.
Okay. You see Sir Diaphragm Penier fiddling around in his pocket. What are the other two of you doing?
Pointedly not looking.
I'm gonna look at A and Win. I'm gonna say, all right. So where are we going from here?
That way. And I point in the direction the table was going.
All right. Well, I assume we should get going, but lastly, Aenwin, are you sure you're okay? You're acting very blunt. Have we offended you in some way?
No, that's how I always act. I
As I
really just want to figure this chaos thing out so that my forest home doesn't get destroyed.
That's fair. Well, in that case, let's head towards where the table turned into sawdust, as I'm going to turn and start walking towards it.
Okay. You get into the next section of the tunnel there. It winds around for another second, and then, or for a couple, I don't know, winds, couple turns, and then there's another similar staircase heading back up. Are all three of you together?
Yeah.
Okay. As you make your way up the stairs, what's marching order? Who's first?
I think I am in the front because I was the one who headed there, but if someone else wants to be in the front, by all means, you can go ahead of me.
I'll let you go
There's-
first.
It's wide enough for two people if you'd like, but
Alright.
you don't have to. You can all stay single file if you'd like.
I will go ahead of them, but I want to get my shield out and have my sword will still be in its sheath, but a hand on my sword and kind of leading with my shield as we march through this hallway.
Okay. You get up to the top of the stairs, and Sir Dyfree, you first see, because you're the first one up there, this is a different place. You're still in the middle of a forest, but the trees are much larger. There are branches hanging down and vines, but they're all sorts of crazy neon colors, blue and pink and aqua and yellow. There are large mushrooms that are as big as a person. And as you get up to the top of the steps, you see a full-sized ogre with a giant great club, thumping, 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 waiting for you to get up. As soon as it sees you peek your head up, it starts running towards the tunnel. The other two of you behind can feel the vibration on the ground as it is getting closer. It seems like it was probably guarding this section of the forest. What are you all doing?
All right. I assuming I am at the top of the stairs and they are still have not gotten up to me. Just real quickly, as this ogre is charging me, I'm going to kind of call over my shoulder: "Is Aenwin? You said that the Feywild was colorful with a large plants. Was that right?
Yes, you were paying attention.
Was there anything about ogres?" As I then turn and kind of like brace myself for this ogre charging me.
As you're turning yourself back around, a full-sized hand grabs you around your torso, or begins to attempt grabbing you around your torso. You can either make a strength saving throw to try and pry the fingers off, or you can make a dexterity saving throw to try and duck out.
All right, dexterity or strength. We will go strength.
Okay.
All right, let's do this. I got a 12.
12 is not good enough. The hand of the ogre grabs you and starts pulling you up out of the tunnel. What are the other two of you doing?
apparently they're going to leave me to die.
Okay, roll
I
for
Off
was
we
it.
go. I will go up and I will yell at the ogre. Hey, hey, what are you doing?
And Ponto, what are you doing?
I'm gonna run up and kick it.
Okay, as the two of you make your way up the steps to yell and kick the ogre, respectively, you see Sir Dyfrey being pulled away, and then out of nowhere, you hear the beating of humongous wings, leathery, almost like the beating of like a large flag or sails on a ship, as something ginormous flies down towards you all. Sir Dyfrey, go ahead and make for me a dexterity saving throw.
All right.
Anything above a 10 will work here.
I got a 10 plus 1. That is an 11.
Okay. The ogre jolts to the side, and his grip loosens just enough for you to wiggle your way out. As the three of you witness the claws of some giant flying creature pick up the ogre and fly off and into the multicolored sunset with the ogre. As it's flying away, you don't get a good look at what this creature was, but it is obviously some sort of apex predator in this area. Welcome to the Feywild. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you so much for playing. We will pick up the game 2 weeks from tonight on February 12th, I believe that is. 2 Fridays from now is
Yep.
our next game.
That is February.
We'll be right here on TLE, the League Esports, twitch.tv/ the League Esports. Make sure you follow us both on Instagram. On Instagram, I am at, or Feywild is at Feywild Game. Instagram.com/FeywildGame. The League Esports is Instagram/ The League Esports. Also, check out our website at feywildgame.com. We have a Patreon. Thank you all so much for coming and playing. Congratulations to the winner of the free journal giveaway. We love our sponsors. We love our fans. We love our players. And everybody have a great night. Thank you all. We'll see you.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
Bye bye now.